it's Ilana and welcome to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I do not need to be in a relationship and neither do you. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm a single girl. I've been single for 7 years and I've gone on so many dates and I'm still figuring things out along the way, just like you are. I've gone through so many ups and downs when it comes to being single and dating. And if you're a single girl going through all of this just like I am, then be sure to subscribe to my channel down below so you can get more videos just like this. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First thing of why I don't need to be in a relationship. So I get to do things that I want to do. Being single is such a blessing in disguise, and this was something that I didn't learn until I actually moved here into the city, and this is where I became more comfortable with being single. I didn't used to be comfortable being single, believe it or not, and I want to share a little bit about that. So it's just really important that you enjoy your independence. You get to do the things that you want to do. Whether you're career driven, you're passion driven, whatever drives you and whatever you want to experience and you feel like a relationship is going to be holding you back, this is the good time to be single and just enjoy it, because once you get into a relationship, everything is going to change. You have to be your own priority. And once you get in that relationship, your priorities are going to change and you're going to have to put your partner as a priority, which is going to create a lot of stress and pressure, which brings me on to the next thing. I think being in a relationship can be very stressful, and there's also a lot of societal pressures that come with being in a relationship. Okay, so for instance, what I mean is there's going to be so many compromises that you're going to have to make, and I just don't want to deal with that. I mean, eventually, I do want to be in a relationship, but right now, it's just important that I don't have any pressures or stress that come from my partner, because when my partner puts stress on me, then I just crumble and then I feel like I can't achieve anything. Here's the third thing that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to get a little chatty with this. A relationship is not necessary to make you happy. Did you hear me? You should not depend on a relationship to make you happy. I felt like this for the longest time. I'm from the South. I was born and raised in Virginia, and then I went off to grad school in Kentucky, another southern state. There are so many societal pressures about getting into a relationship and getting married under, let's say, 25 years old. There's so many societal pressures and expectations, and I can tell you that it made me super uncomfortable with being single back then. But at the same time, I also lacked a lot of confidence, and that was another problem. I didn't know how to be okay with being alone, and I felt so lonely, and I felt that the only way to get rid of my loneliness was by being in a relationship. And I think that's something a lot of us can all relate to. In the South, God forbid I wasn't married by 25 years older. I didn't find my partner in high school. Oh my God, could you imagine if I married a guy from my high school? Ugh, gross. People in the South kind of put a little bit of shame on single women or even men who haven't found a partner by a certain age, because there's that societal expectation that you should marry young. And I've had friends say like, oh, well, I think it's just a Southern thing. Well, you want to know why it's a Southern thing? It's because Christianity dominates the South, and there's that whole no sex before marriage thing, and that's why people tend to get married at an earlier age, like Mormons. Take Mormons, for example. You want to know why Mormons get married so early? It's so they can eventually have sex. It's the truth. That explains the whole, oh, it's a Southern thing. It's because of religion. There is a huge difference between wanting a relationship and needing a relationship. You do not need a relationship to fulfill you and make you feel complete. What a relationship should be doing is complimenting you, not completing you. There's such a difference. There's no shame in wanting a relationship. Look, I get it. I've been there. I wanted to be in a relationship for most of my life, all throughout high school, college, grad school, and also when I mentioned being in an area where everyone was coupling up, or I was in a place where everyone was in a relationship, engaged or married, it made me want to be in a relationship so badly, or I felt the need that I should be in a relationship. So I felt so lonely, and I kept trying to go on date after date after date, trying to find a person so I could get married at that certain age because of where I was. And needless to say, here I am, 27, still single. Clearly that did not work out for me so well. Nothing wrong with wanting it, because one day I do want a family, I do want kids of my own, and even if I don't find a partner, I will still happily adopt a child because I'm not gonna let a lack of partners stop me from having a child. You don't need to be married or in a relationship to have your own kid. And that's something that I definitely do want. But anyway, that's not the point. So what I'm trying to say is that a relationship is something that complements you and it's a benefit to your happiness. A relationship is just a nice little bonus in your life. A relationship can enhance your life. I think, that's the biggest takeaway that people keep forgetting about, is that a relationship is not something that you need to be fulfilled. And I'm sorry if you're one of those people who has been sucked in by societal pressures. I'm here to tell you that nothing is wrong with you. You don't need to be in a relationship, and you certainly do not need to follow what your societal norms are expecting of you. And if you feel super uncomfortable with where you are, then move. That was one of the reasons to why I moved to San Francisco, is because I wanted to be around other single people so it could teach me about being more comfortable about being single. And then if someday where I move out of San Francisco, then I will be more grounded in myself with being single. And if I have to go back to the southern suburbs, I will be much more grounded about it, and I won't cave into societal pressures. I'm gonna do me. Let's talk about the 5th topic, and that is my favorite 3-letter word: sex. Some people feel like, oh, a relationship's the best way to have sex all the time, and well, it's not. There's dating apps where you could literally just go swipe, swipe, swipe and hook up with people, because again, you don't need to be in a relationship to have sex. Y'all know this, right? I'm one of those people who prefers to not have sex outside of commitment. That's just a personal preference for me. Don't get me wrong, I have my moments where I have to really fulfill my needs, because guess what? Sex is a biological need. Our bodies were designed for sex, right? That's the kind of our physical purpose of our bodies, is for reproduction, and well, sex is the act to reproduce. That's kind of what people think, oh, well, who am I gonna have sex with all the time? I don't have a person to have sex with. Guess what? If you want to have sex, do something about it. There are so many ways to go ahead and fulfill your needs or your wants. Because if sex is something that you just want in your life and you feel like, oh, our relationship's kind of the reason why I need to be having sex, no, it's not. There are so many ways to go about having sex. Trust me, it's literally with the swipe of your finger. Let's talk about the 6th and final thing. Loneliness is not the same thing as being alone. I cannot tell you how many times how lonely I have felt because I am single. Mostly in grad school. I think grad school was a very dark time for me. I wanted a boyfriend so badly. Kentucky felt like it did nothing for my love life. I was never hooking up with guys. I barely went out on dates. It was just pitiful because I felt that I had no options because everyone was in a relationship, and I was so frustrated. I didn't know what to do about it. I would cry all the time, and I felt so alone. I'm here to tell you that being alone and being on your own is okay. When you are happy and comfortable with being single, you have to tell people that, listen, I'm not sad because I'm single. Singleness doesn't equal sadness or loneliness. There's a difference between being alone, doing things by yourself, and spending time by yourself. That's the difference. Just because I'm alone and by myself doesn't mean that I'm this poor, depressed soul who has nothing going on for her love life. That's just not true. And I need you guys to really understand that. It's okay to be alone. I love being alone. I love being able to not have to share my bed except with my cat. I love starfishing across my bed. I love not having to share my pizza or my popcorn with. It's great. So many things that I can do all by myself because I hate sharing. I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of selfish, and that's another thing, is it's okay to be selfish. And that goes back to the first thing that I said, is focusing on you and making yourself your own priority. If you're single and you just feel you really need to be in a relationship, I'm here to tell you that it's okay that if you want a relationship, because I think the thing is that you want to be in a relationship and that there's nothing wrong with that. You have to understand that timing is everything and the universe will do its own thing. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that, oh, it'll happen when you least expect it, because that's a load of but I do believe that the universe does its own thing, and that it will happen when it happens, which is a completely different thing than saying what will happen when you least expect it. This really helps eases everything about you being single and you being uncomfortable with being single. I'm here to tell you that it's okay, and don't let anybody tell you or anybody shame you that anything is wrong with you because you are single. You need to put your foot down and say, listen, I'm okay with being single. I've accepted that I'm single right now, and that's okay. Because if someone is judging you for being single, that's a reflection on them and not you. That's because they're so caught up in their own relationship. Because if you don't stand your ground, it's gonna make you feel like crap. So please, guys, stand your ground and let everyone know that you're okay with being single. Okay, guys, I hope this helped you. And if you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!